Ferrari set to release its first ever EV.
The iconic Ferrari horse is preparing to shift gears. The Italian luxury sports car maker has unveiled technology. Rival Lamborghini delayed its EV model until 2029.
What if the greatest automotive war in history was fought across just 40 kilometers of Italian road? On one side, Ferrari, built on racing precision and engineering purity. On the other, Lamborghini, born from rebellion, aggression, and raw theatrical power. What started with Ferruccio Lamborghini challenging Enzo Ferrari in 1963 has evolved into a billion-dollar battle of hybrid V12s, Mans-derived hypercars, and 1,200 horsepower monsters. In this video, we will break down the Ferrari F80, the Ferrari 12-cylindri, the Lamborghini Revuelto, and the coming Revuelto SV, the next chapter in the 40-kilometre war. The 40-kilometre war, there is a story. Legendary now, polished smooth by 6 decades of retelling, about a farmer from Ferrara who decided to embarrass the most famous car maker in Italy. The year was 1963. Ferruccio Lamborghini was already a wealthy man. He had made his fortune building tractors, powerful, reliable.
His name is Ferruccio Lamborghini. The tractor he was driving was a Lamborghini. The car he is driving is a Lamborghini.
Unglamorous machines that work the flat agricultural plains of the Po Valley. He was successful enough to own a Ferrari. Successful enough, as the legend goes, to walk into the Ferrari factory and tell Enzo Ferrari himself that his car had a problem, a clutch problem. In fact, the same clutch Lamborghini used in his tractors. And as the legend further goes, Enzo Ferrari, proud, imperious, a man who considered himself a builder of racehorses who merely sold some to the public, told Ferruccio, in words that were reportedly less than diplomatic, to go back to his tractors and leave the cars to the carmen. What Enzo said and what Ferruccio heard were the same thing. A challenge, an insult dressed as a dismissal. And if you know anything about the northern Italian temperament, about the fierce, competitive pride that runs through this region like a current, you already know what happened next. Ferruccio Lamborghini went home. He sold some tractors. Then he built a car company. Automobili Lamborghini SPA opened in 1963 in Sant'Agata Bolognese, a quiet town in the Emilia-Romagna region. The distance between Sant'Agata and Maranello, where Ferrari's factory had stood since the late 1940s, is approximately 40 kilometers. You could drive it in under half an hour. On a map, it looks trivial. In automotive history, that 40-kilometer gap might be the most contested stretch of road on Earth. What Ferruccio built in those early years was not merely a car. It was a rebuttal. The 350 GTV, the Miura, the Countach, each one was a statement, a raised finger, a proof that the tractor king could not only build a sports car, he could build one that made the world forget Ferrari existed for a few electric minutes. The Miura, widely considered the world's first supercar, landed in 1966 like a depth charge.
I looked from the back, I saw the car mirrors, I heard the noise, and I went, oh my God.
The automotive world had simply never seen anything like it. Ferrari fired back. Lamborghini returned fire. And so it went, decade by decade, model by model, through ownership changes and financial crises and corporate rescues, and everything the global economy could throw at two impossibly stubborn Italian car companies. Because here is the thing about a rivalry this old and this deep. It does not die when the money runs out. It does not die when the founders die. It does not even die when the companies change hands. Ferruccio Lamborghini sold his stake in Lamborghini in 1972 and eventually retired to a vineyard in Umbria. Enzo Ferrari sold a majority stake in Ferrari to Fiat in 1969 and kept working until the day he died in 1988. Neither man lived to see where the war they started would eventually lead. Today, Ferrari is a publicly listed company, one of the most valuable automotive brands on Earth, traded on stock exchanges, answerable to shareholders. Lamborghini, meanwhile, is owned by the Audi division of the Volkswagen Group, part of one of the largest automotive conglomerates on the planet. Neither company is the same thing Ferruccio and Enzo built in the 1960s, but the war they started, that is entirely unchanged. Emilia-Romagna is often called the Motor Valley of Italy. Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati, Dallara, Ducati, they are all here, packed into this flat, foggy plain south of Bologna, making engines that sound like religion and selling dreams to the wealthiest people on earth. The regional identity is inseparable from the cars. The local pride is not just civic, it is existential. And nowhere in this valley is that pride more acute than in the 40 kilometers between Sant'Agata Bolognese and Maranello. For 60 years, the war has never stopped. It has only evolved. And in the last 2 years, it evolved faster than at any point since Ferruccio first walked through Enzo's door. The shield around the V12 2023. Lamborghini's moment. The most important product launch in the company's history since the Countach. And they knew it. The Aventador had been the flagship for 12 years, arguably the most recognizable supercar silhouette on Earth. The wide-hipped, scissor-doored, impossibly dramatic machine that appeared in music videos and movie chase scenes and the fevered dreams of every 15-year-old on the planet. Replacing it was always going to be a moment of enormous pressure. Replace it with something timid and you betray the legacy. Replace it with something so radical that it no longer feels like a Lamborghini, and you betray the faithful. The Revuelto found a third path, or tried to, and the core of that path was a gamble that would define Lamborghini's philosophy for the next decade. The powertrain they unveiled was extraordinary. The foundation,
So, the Italian supercar maker, one of the most recognizable names in the world,
is a 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12. The same essential bloodline that has lived in Sant'Agata's flagship since the Murcielago, developed and refined and pushed to its current state, where it produces 825 horsepower from the internal combustion engine alone. 825 horsepower from a naturally aspirated engine. That number alone would have been the headline at any other moment in history. But the Revuelto did not stop there. 3 electric motors, one mounted on the rear axle alongside the combustion engine, 2 mounted on the front axle, add their contribution to the total. The combined system output is 1,015 horsepower. The car is all-wheel drive by default, using the electric front axle to put power through wheels that previously had none. The transmission is a new 8-speed dual clutch, replacing the single-clutch automated manual that the Aventador used and that drivers either loved or quietly hated. The engine revs to 9,250 revolutions per minute. The weight, and this will become important, is approximately 1,892 kilograms. Now, why hybrid? Why now? Why would Lamborghini, a company whose entire identity is built on excess, on purity, on the magnificent pointlessness of a naturally aspirated V12, choose to electrify its flagship? The answer is simultaneously simple and existential. Emissions regulations are tightening across every major market. The European Union's rules, China's rules, California's rules, they are moving in one direction and one direction only. A pure unassisted 6.5-liter V12, making over 800 horsepower, is by any environmental measure a provocation. Without hybrid assistance, the Revuelto might not have survived the regulatory environment of the late 2020s. With hybrid assistance, the V12 lives on, cleaner on paper, more powerful in practice, legally defensible in the markets that matter. The message from Sant'Agata was clear. Lamborghini is not abandoning the V12. Lamborghini is protecting it. The electrification is not a compromise, it is a shield. But a shield is not the same as a choice. And the automotive world, the purists, the collectors, the people who buy these cars with their hearts rather than their spreadsheets, heard the message and felt something complicated. Because there is a section of the supercar faithful who believe, with almost religious conviction, that the naturally aspirated internal combustion engine is sacred. That adding electric motors is not enhancement, it is dilution. That the sound changes, the feel changes, the soul of the thing changes, even if the numbers on the spec sheet get larger. Would the Revuelto win them over? The early reviews were glowing. The performance was undeniable. The sound, that 9,000-plus redline shriek, remained spine-tingling. The numbers were staggering. Orders rolled in. Waiting lists stretched years into the future. And then Ferrari announced the 12-cylindry, and the conversation changed entirely. Ferrari's first strike, the 12-cylindry 2024. Ferrari's answer. And it was not what anyone expected. When the automotive world anticipated Ferrari's response to the Revuelto, the assumption, reasonable, widely shared, was that Maranello would go hybrid, that they would match Lamborghini's technology, match the power figures, perhaps exceed them. Ferrari had the engineering resources.
This is just the start of the Ferrari electric journey.
We strongly wanted always that our product must be driven.
Ferrari had the Formula One department feeding technology directly into road car development. Ferrari had every reason and every tool to build a hybrid V12 flagship. They built something else entirely. The Ferrari 12-cylindry, 12 cylinders, stated plainly in its name, is a pure, naturally aspirated 6.5-liter V12. No electric motors, no battery pack, no hybrid assistance of any kind. Just the engine, spinning to 9,500 revolutions per minute and producing 819 horsepower from combustion alone. Some sources, accounting for the European DIN measurement standard, place the figure closer to 830 metric horsepower. Either way, extraordinary. The engine is the F140. The designation matters. It places this power plant in direct lineage with the engine that first appeared in the Ferrari Enzo in 2002, one of the most celebrated hypercars ever built. Over more than 2 decades, that engine family has been developed, expanded, refined, and elevated to its current state. 9,500 revolutions per minute, naturally aspirated. No turbochargers, no electric assistance. Just air, fuel, spark, and mechanical perfection at operating frequencies that border on the impossible. This is where Ferrari made its argument. Not in a press release, not in a marketing campaign. In the physics of the car itself. The Ferrari 12-cylindry weighs approximately 1,565 kilograms. Compare that to the Revuelto's 1,892 kilograms. The difference, 327 kilograms, is not a rounding error. 327 kilograms is roughly the weight of 4 adult human beings. It is the weight of everything that hybrid electrification adds to a car's structure. The battery cells, the motor housings, the power electronics, the cooling systems, the reinforced chassis points required to handle the additional loads. Lamborghini carries all of that weight because the hybrid system requires it. Ferrari carries none of it because Ferrari chose not to have a hybrid system at all. The strategic message embedded in those 327 kilograms is devastating in its simplicity. Ferrari looked at everything Lamborghini had done, the engineering achievement, the electrification, the 1,015 horsepower, and said, "You added all of that weight to get those numbers. We got within touching distance of your numbers without any of it, and we did it in a purer, lighter, more analog machine." Is the 12-cylindry faster than the Revuelto in every measurable metric? No. The Revuelto's hybrid system provides instant electric torque, provides all-wheel drive traction, and provides raw power that the 12-cylindry cannot mathematically match from a standing start. In a straight-line drag race on the Top Gear test track, the Revuelto beat the 12-cylindry. The numbers do not lie. Lamborghini's machine is quicker, on paper and in that specific test. But Ferrari was not competing for the drag race. Ferrari was competing for the conversation. The conversation about what a V12 flagship should be. The conversation about whether electrification is progress or compromise. The conversation about identity, heritage, purity, and the soul of the supercar. And in that conversation, the one fought not in the quarter mile, but in the minds of collectors, journalists, and purists. Ferrari's argument lands with extraordinary weight. You do not need batteries to keep the V12 alive. You do not need 3 electric motors. You need engineering excellence, obsessive weight management, and the courage to say that sometimes the best answer is also the oldest answer. 819 horsepower, 9,500 revolutions per minute, 1,565 kilograms. No compromises. That is Ferrari's first strike. Ferrari's second strike, the F80. If the Ferrari 12-cylindry was Ferrari's elegant response to Lamborghini's aggression, then the Ferrari F80 was something entirely different. This was not a duel.
This is the brand new Ferrari F80 hypercar. It's been built to celebrate 80 years of the Ferrari brand.
This was overwhelming force. October 2024, no giant stage presentation, no dramatic countdown in a packed theater. Ferrari simply unveiled the F80 and let the automotive world detonate around it, and the numbers alone sounded unreal. A hybrid hypercar producing around 1,200 horsepower, a twin-turbocharged V6 paired with an advanced electric system. Not a traditional Ferrari V12 halo car, but something more radical. A machine built around efficiency, aerodynamics, and racing technology rather than nostalgia. Ferrari was making a statement. The future of performance would not be limited by cylinder count. The price? Approximately $3.9 million. Production? Exactly 799 units. That number matters because Ferrari understands psychology better than almost any luxury manufacturer on Earth. 799 is not just exclusivity, it is engineered scarcity. Every allocation was effectively spoken for almost immediately, many before the public had even fully processed what the F80 actually was. In Ferrari's world, owning the flagship is not just about wealth. It is about access, status, membership in an invisible club. But the real power of the F80 was not the price tag, it was the lineage. Because the car's DNA comes directly from the Ferrari 499P. The prototype that returned Ferrari to outright victory at the 24 Hours of Le Mans after 50 years away from top-level endurance competition. That victory in 2023 was emotional for Ferrari, historic, symbolic. The company did not merely win a race, it reclaimed part of its identity, and Ferrari leveraged that victory brilliantly. The hybrid systems, thermal management strategies, aerodynamic lessons, and endurance racing philosophy developed through the 499P program flowed directly into the F80. This was not marketing language. Ferrari genuinely positioned the car as a road-going descendant of a Le Mans winner. And strategically, that changed everything in the war with Lamborghini. The Lamborghini Revuelto and the 12-cylindry compete in roughly the same territory, both around the $500,000 range, both aimed at buyers deciding between two very different philosophies of Italian performance. Lamborghini offered explosive hybrid power and theatrical speed. Ferrari answered with naturally aspirated purity and grand touring elegance. But the F80 moved the conflict somewhere else entirely. At nearly $4 million, Ferrari entered a hyper-exclusive category Lamborghini currently does not occupy. The Revuelto is extraordinary, but it is not a Le Mans-derived halo hypercar priced in the Bugatti territory. Ferrari effectively created a new battlefield above the existing one. And that matters because earlier, Lamborghini had scored a very public victory. In a widely discussed drag race comparison, the Revuelto defeated the 12-cylindry in straight-line acceleration. Sant'Agata proved its hybrid monster could overpower Ferrari's elegant V12 flagship. Ferrari's response was not to argue over drag strip times. Ferrari responded by launching a technological flagship that redefined the conversation itself. That is what great rivals do. They do not merely react, they escalate. And somewhere in Sant'Agata Bolognese, Lamborghini engineers were already preparing their own answer. Because in this 60-year war, silence is the only unacceptable response. The bull fights back. Revuelto SV Lamborghini does not respond to pressure by becoming conservative. It never has. That instinct to go louder, faster, more extreme when challenged is woven into the company's DNA. From the moment Ferruccio Lamborghini founded the company in 1963 to challenge Ferrari, Lamborghini has treated competition like fuel. And now, with the rumored development of the Lamborghini Revuelto SV, the next chapter of the 60-year war is already taking shape.
Lamborghini has finally unveiled the much-awaited successor To its popular super sports car, V12, the Revuelto boasts an overall output of just over 1,000 horsepower.
The SV badge matters because it means something inside Sant'Agata Bolognese, super veloce, super fast. Historically, Lamborghini only uses it when engineers decide the standard flagship is not enough. The Murcielago SV, harsher and more violent than the already outrageous Murcielago. The Aventador SVJ went even further, setting production car lap records at the Nürburgring and proving Lamborghini could combine drama with real engineering precision. An SV is not a cosmetic upgrade. It is Lamborghini unleashed. And according to reports tied to the current development program, the Revuelto SV could target between 1,200 and 1,300 horsepower.
It's a supercar. This is their new sort of flagship supercar. This is a 740 horsepower, 6.3-liter V12, does 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, does easily over 200 miles an hour.
From its evolved hybrid V12 system. That number is strategic, because Ferrari's Ferrari F80 arrives with approximately 1,200 horsepower and the prestige of being linked directly to the Le Mans-winning Ferrari 499P program. Ferrari positioned the F80 as a technological halo car, a machine sitting above normal supercar territory, priced near $4 million and limited to just 799 units. It was Ferrari saying, "We are not only preserving tradition, we are shaping the future." Lamborghini's answer appears to be different. Instead of separating purity and performance into different products, Sant'Agata wants to push both into one machine. The Revuelto already represented a major shift for Lamborghini. It kept the naturally aspirated V12 alive while adding 3 electric motors and a new dual-clutch gearbox architecture. That mattered because Lamborghini understood something important. Buyers still wanted emotion. They still wanted noise, vibration, theater, and the sensation that the car might overwhelm them if they were careless. So while Ferrari approached hybridization with racing precision, Lamborghini approached it with controlled aggression. The SV version is expected to amplify all of it. More power, more aerodynamic downforce, less weight, sharper suspension tuning, faster responses from the hybrid system. The objective is not simply to beat Ferrari in a straight line. The objective is to create a car that feels outrageous in a way only Lamborghini can deliver. And Lamborghini has history on its side here. When critics questioned whether the Aventador platform had reached its limit, Lamborghini delivered the SVJ and shocked the industry with its performance. When people feared electrification would sterilize the Lamborghini experience, the Revuelto arrived and proved hybrids could still feel theatrical and emotional. Sant'Agata has repeatedly shown an ability to evolve without losing the madness that defines the brand. But beneath the horsepower numbers lies a much larger story. This rivalry is no longer just about speed. It is about philosophy. Ferrari believes purity still matters. That is why the Ferrari 12-cylindry exists as a naturally aspirated V12 Grand Tourer even in the hybrid era. Ferrari's strategy separates emotional heritage from extreme technological experimentation. Lamborghini believes the future flagship should combine everything at once. Hybrid power is not a compromise to them. It is evolution. More capability, more torque, more drama, more spectacle. And that ideological difference is exactly why the rivalry remains so important after 6 decades. Because every time one company pushes forward, the other is forced to answer. The Miura forced Ferrari to rethink the supercar. The F40 forced Lamborghini to escalate. The Aventador forced Ferrari to modernize its V12 philosophy. The F80 now pressures Lamborghini into building something even more extreme. That pressure is healthy. It kills complacency. And somewhere right now, inside the factories of Maranello and Sant'Agata, engineers are already shaping the next responses. New aerodynamics, new hybrid systems, new ways to make road cars feel impossible. The Revuelto SV is proof the war is not slowing down. If anything, the 40-kilometre battle between Ferrari and Lamborghini is entering its most explosive era yet. So here is where we land. 2 factories, 40 kilometers apart. One rivalry that has defined the supercar world for over 60 years. Ferrari built its legacy on racing precision, elegance, and engineering purity. Lamborghini answered with aggression, drama, and raw power. From the Miura and Countach to the F40, Aventador, and today's hybrid hypercars, every generation exists because neither company can tolerate losing to the other. Now the Lamborghini Revuelto prepares for its next evolution, and Ferrari is already preparing the counterattack. This war never ends. It only creates another chapter. So now it is your turn. Team Ferrari or Team Lamborghini? Comment below, hit like, and subscribe for the next great automotive war story.